We're currently going, we've met a Colombian guy who basically, he just warned us about, he saw some guys talking to us when we were getting a beer, and he warned us about like scams that they do to do with chatting to us and stuff. It's a long story, but anyway, and he's a really nice guy, so we're gonna, well, we think anyway. So we're just following him at night in the dark, when we've been told not to go out in the dark really. But we're following him to a barrio, which just means neighborhood in Spanish, in Colombia. And we're just following him to like his local barrio. He's a university student here, but he said he'll show us around. And he was like, I was like, is it safe at night? And he was like, yeah, like relatively. I was like, that doesn't fill me with too much confidence really, but I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's local, so we should be safe. But yeah, I'll take you along for the journey, see a bit of Bogota at night. I mean, it feels good. Like there's, we did just see in the square, we were having a beer, and there was like military with like AK-47s. It literally looked like something out of like Afghanistan or something. So that was the first time I felt a little bit like, oh whoa, this is real. You know what I mean? Like that brought it home to me that I need to stop being naive a little bit and watch out. Not that I've been naive, but it emphasised to me how dangerous it can be here. But apart from that, I felt good. I mean, obviously the military presence makes me feel safe, but it also kind of like makes me feel a bit like, there's a reason why there's military, so it makes me feel a little bit more on edge. But I'd rather there's a presence than not, obviously. But yeah, take you on for the journey. It's good vibes. It's just like loads of people in the street, loads of traffic, crazy traffic as usual. Yeah, I'm just always super vigilant. That's why I'm always moving around, because as long as you're vigilant and you're sensible, you're fine. But you've got to always be looking around. Don't get complacent. Basically, that's what the locals say, and that's what. That's how you do it, basically. So yeah, I'll stop the recording here, and once we're in the barrio, I'll film again.
They're mostly Colombian, the people in the hostel, so they're authentic locals.
So we're just about to cross the main highway that cuts through the city. It basically splits the city in two halves. It splits La Candelaria from this barrio. I'm not sure what the barrio is called. What's the barrio called again?
This is another locality, but the plaza where we're heading is called Mariposa, butterfly.
Mariposa.
Yeah, and
which means butterfly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the locality, it's called Martires.
Martires.
Yeah.
Okay. This highway like splits the city in two halves, or?
Yeah, this is one of the main streets in Bogota, because this road connects the south to the north.
Okay, cool. So it's like
So it's like the main avenue.
So basically, Bogota is split in two. So like the north is safe and the south is dangerous.
Well, I mean, you can still find dangerous parts, but I would say there's more security in the north.
In the north, okay.
More money and stuff. Yeah, because it's fancy, a lot of people with money, of course. And also a lot of business. When you go there, you find a lot of high buildings.
Skyscrapers, big businesses,
Exactly. When you go to bars, of course, rooftops.
Whereas the south, is it more like residential? More barrio?
No, more barrio, yeah.
More barrio, okay. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. And then you cross, mate, and it gets so different. It's so different. So look at this, guys. Got the main highway here. It feels a little bit like some cities in Asia that I've been to. Just a bit sketchier, basically. But like most cities in Asia have like a big highway that cuts through the middle.
They don't really work here. Like.
Yeah. But this just feels like crazier. It's just like. Have you been to Asia? No. You should go 100%, mate. Yeah, crossing the road here is a bit like in Italy, where it's like a suicide mission every time because people don't really stop. But surprisingly, people do stop at traffic lights, which is good, because in Napoli people don't. Like traffic light can be red and no one stops. So yeah, this is we're now crossing into a barrio, so it's a bit sketchier. It's a bit more, well, not authentic necessarily, but it's just a little bit sketchier already. I'm seeing some people who I don't really like the look of, but there is a lot of police cars gone past, police motorbikes. There's a lot of police in Bogota, but it kind of like doesn't really, I don't know, somehow it doesn't really fill you with more confidence, to be honest. I was just saying to the camera, like, there's a lot of police in Bogota, but to me, for some reason, it doesn't make me feel safer. Like, it almost, like, in a way, the presence is good, but it's also like there's a reason why there's police, so it makes me feel also.
Take it off from less jobs. Even that's why, for example, in the barrio, it was Patronito, which is dangerous. It's controlled by criminal Venezuelan groups. And it's because the police knows where they are, but they don't want to intervene or do something.
So there's areas where the police don't go.
Just don't go. Or sometimes they cooperate, because it's like what happened with Pablo Escobar. For example,
corruption, right?
Yeah. It is when he escaped the prison because he saw like, okay, so
look at this, guys.
Pablo Escobar, like when, well, actually I don't know how this happened, but basically he escaped 2 hours before when the army came.
Okay.
Or went to that place.
I've seen the...
Because he knew all the information, all the operation. Chief commander of the police. You can hear the conversation.
So, like you were saying earlier, that many of the problems in Bogota are from Venezuelan, not from Colombians.
Well, I would say before Venezuelans came, we still have a lot of problems.
Okay.
But also they intensified the main problems.
Okay, because they're more violent, they're more...
They were more violent. So
documented.
Even there was a note here in Bogota where it said that the Venezuelan criminal organizations were more violent and they won the battle against Colombian criminal organizations.
Okay.
So basically, like this way how they operate with their violent methods they use, like allow them to take control of areas.
Right, okay, So some areas are controlled by Venezuelans and some are controlled by Colombian, and is that when there is like fights? Like there's like battles between, so you have Venezuelan against Colombian. Okay, that makes sense. And is that the main problem, is Venezuelan versus Colombian? That's like the main main issue, or is also between Colombians also?
I would say we still have Colombians, of course.
Okay.
Even there are Colombians that participate with Venezuelan criminal organizations.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as mentioned, it intensified with the migration from Venezuela.
Sure,
Even like, it's because, for example, what would you do if you come to a country when you have literally nothing, you have a family, so even you try to transfer money, the public transportation, and the only thing you receive is like, from Colombians, locals. It's like, Venezuelan, someone came here to steal us. So basically, that's like what, this is what these criminal organizations try to get those Venezuelans in order to motivate them to be part of their criminal organizations.
Okay.
Because when they see they don't have any opportunities, and they are so desperate.
So they exploit people who are desperate. So you'd say the main problem is poverty, right?
Yeah, exactly. They came
okay.
here with nothing.
And
when they see that they're desperate about money, the only thing that they see is about stealing, being part of those criminal organizations. And
so would you say that the Colombian government needs to do more, or would you say it's not a government problem? It's just people.
Well, I think
would you say
it's like a government problem. It's just really hard to control, because Venezuela is just next to us. So it's even the security is so fucked up right now. They cannot control really well those type of problems.
But I
even
was
when the police or the army intervened in the Bronx, basically when they saw that it's funded, they started to use English or French method that was basically keep them in a bubble. So that's why you won't see any police officer inside those ghettos.
Okay. Look at this, guys.
Keep them in a bubble in order they don't move.
Trying to minimize them.
Yeah, exactly. They don't move. So basically, this is what happens with those type of things.
So a lot of locals I've talked to in Colombia, there is a certain stigma towards Venezuelans, and when I was in Hungary, it's the same with Romanians.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
The neighbors.
Because
this is mad.
On the news, a Venezuela.
But I feel safe. I feel good.
Stole someone in the side of the news. So that also changed the perspective of Colombians.
I guess it sounds similar to in the UK. We just had race riots. So we had a lot of immigrants from abroad, and many people don't agree with that. So we had riots in the UK. There's a stigma with immigrants. It sounds kind of similar. So here, would you say a lot of Colombians view Venezuelans as an issue?
Well, many riots. Many riots from the local people, the public. Do they riot against the Venezuelans?
I mean, like, there are a lot of protests, but it's not like attacking the people that came to Colombia.
Okay, it's like attacking the government, or?
But it's against like the dictatorship in Venezuela. Like,
okay,
to the main plaza, protest against the government. Because
that's the right way to do it, because it's always, the problems always stem from the government, right? It's never
the system.
It's always the system. It's never the people. The people are always just like
the victims.
The victims, and people don't realise that they're always fighting the same battles, even if they're different, you know. But like.
So yeah, that's exactly the problem.
Yeah.
In Bogota. So yeah, it's basically when the Venezuelan came here, basically the problem of security intensified a lot. So even it's very interesting with those buses.
These buses here, yeah?
Yeah. The thing is that you're going to see that when he stops at the red light, they're going to make like a human stir in order to grab the phones through the window.
Wow. So wait, so what do? They grab the phone through the window of the bus?
Yeah, like when he stops, you can see like the window is open. So
and people just
they just like, get there and jump.
Yeah.
The window, grab the phone. So
wow.
That's basically what happens.
Wow.
So yeah, that's why some people like they close the windows and there's certain things in order to avoid those situations. I don't see if we can find it right here, but sometimes they have the windows open and there is a person next to the window.
Next to the window.
So they make like a stir, a human stir. Yeah, like.
Oh, they make like human stairs to steal the phone.
No, and I grab it.
That's crazy. But if people see that.
Yeah,
do they not like?
But they cannot do anything because how do you open the door and follow the guy?
So would you say in Colombia it's so normal for stuff like that to happen that people don't, like public don't do anything to stop it because you can't do anything, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's dangerous to do something.
It's dangerous.
Yeah, okay.
Also, and also, what about if you have a gun or something like that?
Is that common? That people have guns? It's common? Yeah.
Citizens.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So like normal people as well. We need to go over there. Oh,
that's a sketchy.
That looks sketchy, bro. That looks sketchy as fuck, man. He was just like, we need to go there, and that looks sketchy as fuck. Fucking hell.
But also here, you are going to see a lot of cell phone vendors. The idea of this, all of them are stolen.
What's stolen? Sorry,
it's like a pawn shop.
Yeah, like most of the phones that are stolen.
So many phones. So in London, for example, in the UK, there's a big problem of people stealing phones. Would they end up here?
Yeah, they end up
That's
here.
crazy. So. All the shops behind us for like the whole length of the street were just all. They were all phone shops basically. A bit like, you know, which seems like, you know, on the forefront that seems fine. But what he was saying is that all the phones that get stolen in London, for example, in London and stuff like that, would end up here. Which is interesting because in London at the moment there's a massive issue with stealing phones that most people will be aware of. So it's interesting to know that they end up here in Bogota, which is like crazy to think that, you know, crime in London like is linked all the way to Colombia. There's a lot of police. These are police officers. There's a lot of police, but at the same time, it doesn't feel safe. Like, it's weird. Like, there's a lot of police presence, but then to me, like in my mind, I'm like, if there's so much police, why is there so much crime at the same time? I've noticed that there's a lot of police in the whole of Bogota, but crime is still really high.
Yeah.
So does that mean that the police just? Why is that? Is it because the police they can't do anything about the crime, or they're corrupt, or there's not enough? Like why?
It's very hard to know where they are at, but at the same time, because it's really hard for them to beat them when you actually don't know how they operate, who is the leader, or how this criminal organization works. It's really hard for them to do such a thing. So or there is some situations where the police doesn't intervene because they think that it's really dangerous, and also they wouldn't have like any reason to go there.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Basically, everyone's looking at it.
I know. Should I put the camera away, or is that all right? Yeah. So yeah, we just went through like a really sketchy. I mean, this whole area is sketchy, but we went through a super sketchy area. Huh? Don't go down there.
If you want to go there, we can assume the risk.
You want to go there?
I don't know. It's for your video.
Bro, I don't know, man. Like, how sketchy is it?
I don't know. It looks so dark.
You don't know, bro. I don't know. I don't think we should go if it's. This is fucking nuts, man.
Oh, this is why the people also jog.
Okay. That guy just looked at me like proper weird for having the camera out. He's contacting some watch people. We just found some random bar in Bogota, playing indigenous music. They've got cacao leaves, yeah? They've got coca leaves, coca tea, which is like, helps with the altitude, is what I tried the other day. Yeah, they got alcohol. There's people like on LSD. I don't even know. It's crazy. This city is the nightlife capital of the world. I was saying Bogota for me is like the nightlife capital. Pretty much. Like the nightlife here is. Yeah, Medellin as well is good. Yeah, it's crazy. Just at night Bogota comes alive. Oh yeah, it comes alive. Yeah. Always. Yeah. It's okay, just.
It's a cute street, isn't it?
I like this shit, it's cool.
Can I take a photo?
This is La Candeliera at night. It's a very nice street, isn't it? It's a beautiful street. It's a very, it's very like Spanish kind of.
We're going to turn left, but then.
Hi guys, so I've just gone to edit the video of me visiting Santa Fe. As always, looking a mess for YouTube, but I don't care. I don't care by this point. And I've realised that I never offered an explanation about what happened when I put the camera away. So the reason why I didn't actually get to show a lot of Santa Fe, I showed a little bit of Santa Fe and La Mariposa, but I didn't get to show that much of it was because I just had to put the camera away. There was a watchman on the corner with a weapon in his holster. Now, I'm not sure if it was a gun. To me, it looked like a baton, but my local mate says that it looked like a gun, and my other mate said it looked like a gun. So, it's potentially could have been a gun. Either way, baton or gun, he had a weapon, and he wasn't an official member of authority. So he was just, either a gangster or watchman for the gang or something like that. But I can assume he was a watchman because he saw me with the camera, gave me a death stare, whispered to his mate next to him, and then shouted, "El gringo" with the camera, which hasn't picked up on the vlog. And then he rang someone straight after. Now, as we walked further down that boulevard in Santa Fe, it became more and more sketchy. It became very quiet for a little bit. There was some not derelict, but not very nice looking houses where people who were quite, disfortunate live there, which was sad to see. But as we walked further down, on another street corner, there was another watchman on the phone, looking at the other guy on the phone. So I can only assume they were talking to each other. Now, we heard whistling in the background. Now, usually whistling is a sign of, there's someone here. Obviously, I'm going around with the camera. They don't want me filming them doing illegal stuff, and I perfectly understand that. And that's why I put the camera away. As we went further down the boulevard, we came across in front of us a house with, basically made of wood, I believe, with corrugated iron roof. It looked like it looked like a shack, which in the middle of the developed city was really, really strange to see. And in front of that, there were people, homeless people / crack addicts, lighting fires in the street. There was prostitutes, there was gangsters, there was all sorts of stuff going on that my senses couldn't even comprehend. As we turned the corner, so we basically turned the corner and took a left to go back onto the main highway, because at that point we would be relatively safe. So we were essentially escaping the area. One of the guys started to follow us for about 10-20 seconds, basically just to see what we were doing, I reckon. He left, disappeared into an alleyway after that. So after that, we felt safe again. Then as we turned the next corner, there was a guy on the phone, and my local friend was like, stop talking Spanish, stop talking English, in fact don't talk at all because they'll be able to tell your Spanish isn't native. And my mate who's ginger, had to cover his hair with his hood because obviously, being ginger is a sign that you're not Latino, so that the guy on the phone wouldn't know that we weren't locals. And it's because he was basically a drug dealer or a gang member, one of the two, probably both go hand in hand, on the phone right in front of us. And we just carried on walking. The key in those moments is be confident, don't flinch, don't look at them, don't make eye contact, just carry on walking as if you're going about your day, as if you've got a purpose. The minute you start doing that thing like, ooh, you know, looking around, or, you know, if you've got your maps out and you look at your maps, then one, they'll know you're not a local, two, you look vulnerable, and three, especially if you're stopped, then you're vulnerable. Never stop in these areas, always be looking around, always be carrying on. And that's what we did, and we made it to the main road, but it was honestly the craziest experience of my life. It doesn't come across in the video, and I'm sorry for that, because I really, really wanted to capture some cool stuff. But at the same time, part of me says it's not right calling it cool stuff when these are people, you know, one, locals have to live with having to walk through these kind of areas, or having to live with having these kind of areas in their cities, and two, the locals within those areas as well, you know, the drug dealers, the gangsters, people taking drugs, the homeless people, they don't want to be recorded. And whether you think what they do is morally right or not, I understand that and I appreciate that, and I'm basically asking for trouble if I do it. So that's why, you know, you've got to gauge the situation, and I gauged the situation that it was not suitable to film after a certain point. So I got the very start of Santa Fe and La Mariposa neighbourhood, where it just comes off the highway, so it's, you know, it's not crazy sketchy, but it's getting there. I got that part, I had to put the camera away for a little bit, but I got the camera back out when my friend said it was okay. And then we got further deeper into the neighbourhood, and my mate was like, just put the camera away, and I gauged it as well. Just, you know, the stairs, the things we were getting said to us, the people we were seeing, it was unlike anywhere I've ever been. It is 100% the most unsafe I've ever felt in my life. So I'm glad we got out of there. It was interesting to see, really, really interesting, and I just apologise that I wasn't able to convey it in a vlog, but hopefully you get kind of a gist of the level of danger in Santa Fe and what locals in Bogota have to deal with on a day-to-day basis.